Hey guys, it's Benefits of a G from GE Tracker, and in this video, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to go back to how to spot mini short-term bubbles. Now this was requested by one of you guys. You guys wanted me to talk more about how to look at a graph and determine whether or not an item is going to skyrocket or crash. Now, with this video though, it's not going to be so much about looking at the graph per se and making these predictions, but rather the importance of game knowledge. Because the more you know about the game, the more of an informed merchant you are, and the more smart investments you can make to prepare yourself for any volatile price changes. Now, this was an item that I was actually collecting, and I wasn't intending on flipping this whatsoever, and by a stroke of luck, it had skyrocketed from 30 GP to over 200, and I felt really bad trying to sell this back at the Grand Exchange, because there was actually a friend of mine in the Discord chat who was very generous enough to start donating some of these items to me, which I never asked for, which I'm really appreciative too. And when this happened, I approached him and I talked him over with this, and he said that it's fine. You can sell the item back, with the intention that I was gonna recollect this same item with all the money that I made off of this, which I made about with the item that I had on my main account, I made like 10 to 12 million off of this flip. Well, it wasn't really a flip, it was a stroke of luck. But on my other accounts, I made a lot more, but I won't go into that. So if we look at the graph here, if we click on the yearly graph, we're going to see that this item has, it has its bumps here and there, and it's skyrocketed once before. Okay, it's hit 200 once before. But one thing you should notice with this yearly graph is that it's taking the average of all the prices within that time frame. So for the item to hit 200 and show it here, that's pretty significant, because on a more recent time it shows that as 140 over here. But if we look at a shorter time frame, we can see that it was really hitting above 200. So if we look at the shorter time frame, we're going to notice right here that there's this huge spike in buy offers, and the sell offers slowly caught up to them. But it was first the buy offers that first pushed this up. So it wasn't merchants that were pushing this. It wasn't any kind of manipulation on their end, but rather I tried looking around any updates in game that may have caused this item to skyrocket, and I couldn't find anything. Well, actually, let me show you guys what I was talking about. It's a bucket of milk, okay? And normally a bucket of milk is usually like from 20 to 30 GP. So you can imagine how I was surprised that this was selling for like 230 GP. Because I went on to my account, and all of a sudden it was saying that I was 10 million richer when I hadn't done anything for that to happen. So we know that this was caused by the buyers, and this wasn't a manipulation of a merchant. And we can see that down here, that there was a whole bunch of buy offers. Like, there was a huge demand for some reason, and there wasn't really that many sell offers. There wasn't really that many people that had buckets of milk stored. I was probably one of the few that did. So out of the blue, there was this huge demand, which again, basic economics says that the more an item that is in demand, as opposed to their supply for it, that item's going to skyrocket, which clearly happened here. But so how do we know this item's going to crash? How do we know that this isn't going to be a permanent change in game? Well, like I said in the beginning of this video, this all goes back to game knowledge. So I went on RS Wiki and I looked up bucket of milk. Okay, and I already knew this stuff beforehand, but this is an example for you guys. So if you guys wanted to find out why an item might be rising, or and maybe it'll crash, and you wanna predict that, you're gonna want to investigate what this item is used for, how it can be obtained, etc., etc. So by looking at this, I noticed that there's really nothing significant at all that would make this item useful. Sure, it might have been used for a mini quest. I mean, you could use it to feed your cat, but really there's really nothing purposeful. But if I look down here, obtaining buckets of milk. Okay, so how do I obtain a bucket of milk? Why would this item suddenly go from 20 GP to 200 GP? And at first glance, it says that I can, milk a dairy cow to attain buckets of milk, which I've tried, and it takes forever. I would not suggest it to anybody. And then there's another, it spawns in a hut in Relica, or you could actually buy it for 12 coins at the Grand Tree, or you can buy it from this chest. I'm not gonna pronounce that, but it's from the recipe for disaster quest. And if I click on this, it's showing me that at a base margin that there's about 50 of these at stock any given point in time, and they're selling for 12 GP each, and it's saying I can sell it back for the GE 55 GP each. Now, before anyone gets upset, like saying, "Oh, you ruined a moneymaker," this is a horrible moneymaker. Okay, because I've already tested this out. You have to think about it. None of these items are in huge demand. If you try buying like 50,000 buckets of milk by doing this method, and you try going to the G and selling them, well, you just increase a massive supply when there's really no one to buy this item. So it's gonna crash. So basically, I call those self-nerfing methods. It's self-nerfing. This isn't a moneymaker by any means. So you guys shouldn't get your panties in a bunch because of that. But besides the point, this item you can buy for 12 GP each, and even lower. When I went in game to check again, I could even buy it, the first bucket of milk, for 7 GP. Okay, so right off the bat, this item can be obtained for much lower than what this graph is showing me down here at 200 GP. So instantly, I should think this item has been completely artificially inflated, and there's no way that this could stay at such a high cost indefinitely. It's impossible. It's just not going to happen. So what I did was I ended up taking advantage of this, and I ended up selling my stock. I'm part of the sellers here. I actually sold a huge portion of my buckets of milk. But at the very end, when I started nearing the end of my stock, I purposefully crashed the price to sell it at 20 GP each. Now, that might upset some of you guys, but I did that to purposely stable this item once again. I'm trying to forcefully push the community to realize that this item is not worth 200 GP each. And people were being affected by this. Merchants were flipping this for 50 GP each and buying huge quantities of it at any given point in time. Now, as to why this item might have skyrocketed, I went into the Discord chat to ask some of you guys, what's going on with this, because I don't know everything, and obviously there was no updates in game that made this bucket of milk useful. And as it turns out, there was a Twitch streamer, who said that he was going to start collecting these once a week, and he's a popular streamer, so eventually all his fans started buying huge quantities of buckets of milk so they could donate to him. But that's short-lived. Even though a streamer says he's going to start collecting these, that influx of price can't remain high indefinitely. And we're going to go back to this because you can buy it for so cheap. There's no reason why this item should be at a price of 200 GP each. And then if we look at a closer time frame, we can notice that it's now stabilized and it's now back to 50, 40 GP, and there's not that huge margin of like 50 GP that it was having earlier during last month when this huge spike happened. So yeah, that's how to spot, potential crashes before they happen. And that's the importance of game knowledge. When you guys are looking at these charts, you should try and, if you find any obscurities like this, you find any bumps, try and go on RS Wiki, try and do some research on this item, see why might have this item have skyrocketed and why it crashed. Okay, if it had skyrocketed, maybe there was some reason, like the Twitch streamer, like I had mentioned earlier, who said he was going to start collecting these, but knowing fully well that I can get this at a much lower cost, that it's gonna crash very soon. And it did. It didn't take very long for that to crash. It took maybe like about a week. So yeah, that's how to spot potential crashes before they happen. And if you guys have any other suggestions about what type of videos you guys want to see, this was a suggestion made by one of you guys. So if you guys have a suggestion, I will make a video about it. So thank you so much, guys, for your support so far. Make sure to leave a comment down below on your thoughts, maybe suggestions you guys want to see in future videos. Leave a like if you like this video and subscribe to see any future content. And good luck merching, guys. Till next time.